Hey, a pleasant good evening, everybody. This is going to be the next NHL team outlook slash preview, and this one is going to be on the LA Kings. The LA Kings are definitely a great mixed bunch of some great veterans, Anze Kopitar, obviously Dustin Brown, Jonathan Quick, Drew Doughty, all the guys that won the cup with the squad, Jeff Carter thrown into there as well. Now mixed with the young guys that they're trying to bring up, they brought over a Grunstrom, obviously, to try to do something. Elias Anderson, who's not going to be starting off to start the season. Andre Santacio, who was a nice little player a couple years ago and hasn't been as consistent since. But if you can get him back to that, that would be huge. But obviously for the Kings, it's about guys like Adrian Kempe continuing to develop and get better, the 24-year-old, and then Gabriel Velarde, if he can stay healthy, this dude is the real deal, in my opinion. I think he is going to be a key piece. He is going to be a key piece at center, because I think the three centers of the future are really Kopitar, because he's going to stay there and I think play his whole career in LA. Then you're going to have Byfield, and then you're also going to have Velarde. I don't know if Byfield or Velarde, what order they'll end up being in, because I think Turcotte, with his size and skill, and just because of the depth at center with those three already, will eventually end up moving to the wing. But it's unfortunate Alex Turcotte was banged up to start the season, because it would have been interesting to see if they would have just thought of bringing him right away, because he balled out. He played amazing in the World Juniors. He looks like he could definitely be ready right away. But if guys like Matt Luff, Trevor Moore, and Amadio Lazati, guys like that that are expected to be in the lineup right away, struggle, I could definitely see on top of a Velarde moving up if Lazati ends up playing on the higher line. I could also see a guy like Alex Turcotte get put into the lineup. Quinton Byfield, I think he should be a guy that's considered sooner rather than later. And I think that's a guy that definitely can make an impact as quickly as possible as well. But again, there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of guys you want to see improve. They signed Wagner to a contract, so obviously they want to give him the minutes he gets in the bottom six and see what he can do. Trevor Moore is a guy that's really just a nice, consistent bottom six player, so he and Matt Luff might unfortunately be odd people out when other forwards come up, not necessarily due to their own fault, but just due to the way of the business. But I think this team is definitely set and positioned, especially when Cal Peterson comes back. With Jonathan Quick and Troy Grosnick, who's only played a couple career games in the NHL, you're not as sitting pretty there. But with Peterson coming back, I think this team is in a very, very good position to be able to surprise some people. Will they make the playoffs? That is a little bit of a different story. But will they be able to surprise some people? That I do firmly believe they will be able to surprise some people. They got a guy from the Flyers that came over, a guy that was that the Flyers drafted years ago in Mark Alt. It'll be interesting if they use him. It seems like they're going to. What he's going to be able to do. And then another guy that actually ended up making the roster was Tobias Bjornfot at only the age of 19, the great steady defender, captain the U18 Swedes gold medal. He was great, and he played a great time there, and he's going to become a leader of the next future core, along with Cal Clegg, another great young defenseman. And then a later round pick in Mikey Anderson is also coming in for his first full season this year as well. The Kings pick them well on defense. They really do, because obviously they also have a guy in Matt Roy who they got in the 7th round. And, I mean, when you're able to pick them that well and that good, that is just a huge, huge benefiting help for your team. And they also, of course, have a guy like Sean Walker, who was an undrafted cat who's not going to be in right away due to protocols. And then Curtis McNamara, who's good for depth. So I think this team, Quick, who was able to bounce back last year after a down 2018, he was able to bring his numbers up in the 2019-20 season. After a down 2018-19 season, he went from a 3.38 goals against to a 2.79 in about the same fair of games played. So I think he's going to heavily improve this year. And I think Cal Peterson, after having 19 career games, he's really showed up in those games. Once he's able to come back as a former 5th-round pick from the Sabres that the Kings really got for nothing, he's going to end up being a great pickup in the line of the success of NHL goalies for the LA Kings, in my opinion, as he is going to be our next franchise goalie for the LA Kings. I think he's going to be definitely their next franchise goaltender, and he's going to be able to step up. He's been behind Quick now, and he's been able to see him, watching him up in the NHL level for the 19 games he was up, and I'm sure as hell paying attention, I'm sure, to him while he was down in the AHL as well. He's a very good veteran to learn from, definitely a guy that could get into the Hall of Fame one day, especially if he starts having his career track turn around. He was playing better last year. The Kings were actually top 14 in defense this year, and I think with the defenders they were able to add to their bunch, as well as Bjornfot and Clegg coming in, that is going to be a huge success story in being able to improve that defense even further. And they have one of the more underrated goalie tandems in all hockey. I think Quick is starting to show he's bouncing back a bit if he can stay healthy, and he's just going to be platooning with Cal Pedersen, and that's going to be good for him because you don't want to overtax him. So this has been the LA Kings season preview. I think this team is going to be very competitive, very surprising. I think they're going to just miss it, unfortunately, though, just because the Wild have a little bit more experience on their team, and that's the team I have right in front of them in my mind in the division. But I think they will be a very competitive, very scrappy team and probably just miss it. But if they get there, that would not surprise me at all, because I still think this is going to be a surprise team of the year in the NHL, whether they make it in the end or not, because they're going to be right there, right on the brink and cusp of making it. So this has been the NHL LA Kings season preview and outlook. Have a great, safe, and pleasant day, everyone. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is Sports Fanatic News. I'm Joe Boric. Peace out, everybody.